I'm back for part 2 of Bubble Trouble with the housing market, right? Let's see what really happens here now. So last time in part 1, I was discussing about how this is not compared to 2008, what happened, the lag. Just go back and look at part 1 for Bubble Trouble. Now, Bubble Trouble, part 2. All right, without a doubt, the lack of credit quality is the most significant difference between today's market and that of 2000. But gone are the days of low doc or no doc. Loans that allow buyers to essentially make up their income to qualify for a mortgage. All right, people, let's be real here. Whenever I buy a house, I even have to present my divorce decree, my 2 divorce decrees. I know it's a little bit more information, but it's like, it doesn't matter. How many times have you been divorced? Have you been married? I had a client once that he actually did not know if he had been married or not. Don't even get me started on that one. But in this case, they will ask you for your DNA test. They will blood sample. Not really, but they become more stricter with policies and regulations. They will not. You need 24 months of history. 2 years of income taxes. I mean, it doesn't matter. You need to make a certain amount in order to qualify for whatever house you're going to qualify. And they're going to make sure that you actually can make that payment. And if you don't, you better have a huge amount of money in the bank in order to make that sustainable. So let's say, for instance, I have a client. Okay, so we closed probably March. Yeah, probably March. His credit score was 620. He had to bring to the table almost $80,000. I think it was $85,000 to make sure. And the bank wanted to make sure that he had that amount and that he was allowed, that he had that 6-month cap that he can make those payments. So look, if you have to bring that amount of money for less than a $250,000 house, what is this telling you? Stricter regulations, guidelines, everything else. Okay, so loans that allow buyers to essentially make up their income to qualify for a mortgage. If you don't have that income, you don't have those taxes, you're not going to qualify. Because if not, then you're going to have to wait for a year or two, depending on if you're a 1099 W2. I'm not a lender. I'm not going to get into that, but I just want to explain that a little bit more. All right. Instead, according to Ellie Mae, what we saw in 2020 was 70% of mortgage origination going to borrowers with proven FICO scores above 760. Also, credit score is important too, because if you have 620 and below, can I get approved? No, you're going to have to work on your credit. All right. So, and the average credit score over the past 5 years was a very high of 754. People are getting better with their credit score. People that are applying do have a good credit score. All right, let me see. I have this document. Look, this is my credit score. Yes, I get approved. In this case, although subprime borrowing still exists and there's a rational place for it, the share of borrowers with a credit score below 620 was just 2% last year. That is amazing. So this is a totally different ballgame from 2008 to 2020. Look, credit score is important. How much money you make, all of this is very, very important, and they take that into consideration. So for comparison purposes, it was 13% back in 2007. People that were applying for mortgages with a 620 credit score was 13% back in 2007. What is that telling you? Sketchy. And don't get this. I'm not offending anybody or anything, but you have a 620 credit score, you're going to have to bring money to the table. You're going to have to bring money to the table. Like I said, that client I have, he had to bring $85,000 to the table. Can he? Well, and I have another client that back in October or something, they had a 580 credit score and they had to bring almost $150,000 to the table. What is that telling you? Yeah, they had to make sure that they had money to pay. And don't ask me I can't remember. But anyways, that's an example there. So it's also worth pointing out that back in 2004, a full 35% of mortgages were ARM, or so-called teaser loans. When the rate reverted on these loans, it forced many homeowners into foreclosure because they could no longer afford the monthly payments. Fast forward to today, the share of ARM in March of 2021 was just a 2.4%. So finally, I like to look at mortgage credit availability, and the Mortgage Bankers Association has some very rich data on this. So Matthew, he actually went ahead and made this research and all that. So the MBA is the Mortgage Bankers Association index, which is calculated using several factors related to borrower's eligibility. So this means credit score, loan type, loan to value ratio. That is something very important that they look at, etc. Acts as a very useful bellwether when it comes to the health of the housing market. Although the index has been rising since last fall, suggesting more freely available credit, it is still at 85% below where it was in 2006. Where is this telling you? Suggesting that lenders remain cautious. They're still taking their precautions because they don't want to go ahead and do that. They don't want to take that risk. The bottom line is that credit quality and down payment are far higher today than they were in the pre-bubble days, and mortgage credit supply remains very tight relative to where it was before the collapse of the housing market. So this is very, very, very important. You know, people, we're not going to go on a housing market. We're not going to go. This is not 2008. It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. So in this case, I want to tell you, you know what? It's irrefutable that home prices have been increasing at well above rates for several years now. And that is a cause for concern. Don't be concerned about this. Look, I'm telling you this. This is a reliable source. And not only that, I mean, I can tell you so many sources that you guys can research on this. It's not going to happen. We're not going to bubble. This is not a bubble. This is not a housing bubble. I talk to other agents all the time and I tell them the same thing. I had an agent. He's a top producer and for a well-known brokerage. But he's like, oh no, we're going to go into foreclosure. I'm like, look, we're not. And we talked about this. I mean, like I said, I mean, this is not a bubble. This is not a bubble market. No, it's not. Look at prices. Look at graphics. Look at my videos. I mean, if you guys want me to put more information out there, I would love to put more information out there. I really want to inform this because I want to educate you guys. All right. So far, I'm not seeing a correlation with the bad old days. So are you seeing anything? I want to hear your comments. I want to know what you guys think. So it's okay. So and it's for cause for concern, but no, it's not. Rather, what concerns me is impacting the rising prices is having housing affordability. Yeah, that is something that kind of worries me too, because current homeowners are in a good shape, and according to the most recent Federal Reserve financial accounts of the U.S. report, are currently sitting on over 21 trillion in equity. So this is telling you that homeowners are sitting in 21 trillion in equity. Furthermore, the latest data from Atom Data Solutions, ATTOM Data Solutions, indicates that over 30% of homeowners had at least 50% equity in their homes at the end of last year. Ching ching! That means money. That's awesome. But this does not help first-time buyers who are so critical to the long-term health of the housing market. Keep in mind, there is a wave of first-time home buyers coming over the next 2 years. 9.6 million millennials will turn 30. They're looking for houses. This is in 2 years. And Gen Z is close on their heels. uh-oh, we got more babies coming soon. Not babies, but we're going to get more first-time home buyers. So given where prices are today, the question should be, where will they be able to afford to buy? I don't know. Depends, right? This, in my opinion, is a far bigger issue than any mythical bubble bursting. And this is coming from Matthew Gardner, is the chief economic of Windermere Real Estate, the second largest regional real estate company in the nation. So, people, if you guys have any questions or anything, bubble trouble is just a myth. Don't get that through your head. We're not going to foreclosure. It's not going to crash. I'm telling you, giving you all the information. So I hope to hear from your comments. Please contact me if you guys have any questions, and I look to hear from you soon. Have a wonderful day.